Hey, how you doing? It's Clayton here from howtodrawcomics.net and bartonbrostudios.com. I'm here today with the other half of the Barton Bros duo, Corey Barton, as my co-host. And then we have, as our special guest for our return stream, none other than Jon Malin himself, the creator of Graveyardshift.
Hail to the chat. Hail, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, no worries.
Good.
How you been, John? Have you been busy?
Very.
I mean, we kind of already had a really long conversation. We've had half the stream before we actually
we had almost like a Jack show, because like that's what we do on Jack show. We show up and then we just start bullshitting for like 20 minutes. Like, what's everybody? Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, so, man. Been busy. I had to kick Irene's ass a couple nights ago on Fragtober's art competition. I only say this because I've tried to make peace with her, but like she came on my Twitter today just throwing salt around. So I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna throw a little backer away. I think she's also trying to stream over you guys, like that's her jab, you know what I mean? So did she go live? I think that was her plan tonight. So
is that just because you're here?
Yeah, because I wrote out that I was going live at 9, you know what I mean? So, she's got a late start. Yeah. Poor Irene.
So, what did you do to get her all salty and whatnot?
Well, it was Fragtober, and so it's the annual Fragtober drawing contest, which Dan Frega does for essentially the entire month of October, and it ends on Halloween night. So the character that was selected was like a crypt keeper type character. I wasn't familiar with him. His name is Kane, but I guess in DC Comics, he's kind of their crypt keeper or something like that. So I tells spooky stories, or I don't know the full history of the guy. All I needed to know was that he was the crypt keeper, and then I was like, oh, okay, so now I can do some crazy shit with that, and it was fitting for Halloween. So, so I picked to do that. Aaron Lopresti picked to do that, and I doubled down on it because I figured there was an angle on there that I could exploit. And then since Irene was just, being problematic, so I, where did I do with that? Oh, here it is. So I drew this one, by the way, destroyed everybody. Aaron Lopresti, Dan Frega. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh wow,
that's
incredible.
There you
go. Nice.
That was for Fragtober.
Yeah, so I just knocked it out. People said it looked like pencil. That's not pencil, guy. That's a Sharpie marker.
Yeah, it looks like
there. You can see the pencil underneath it, like right. Look at the finger there. Yeah, you can see the underdrawing.
That's amazing.
But that's Irene's head, or someone that looks like Irene.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So
just reminding people.
So everybody ran to go vote for me. And of course they were, calling shenanigans, saying John's out there getting people to vote for him. And like, it's the name of the game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I know how you get
supposed to win.
I go out on my Twitter. I go, guys, I'm over here. Come vote for me. You know what I mean? Same thing every politician who's ever ran for office has done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm in your city. Come vote for me. No one ever accuses them in that aspect of cheating, because they went out.
Are you running for president? I see your Twitter handle.
Mail in 2024. Vote for me.
Yeah. I'm sure you'd be a good leader for the the states.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot of people in the chat who have come to see you today, John. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We really appreciate you. We've got Alexander. John had 100 votes from Twitter followers before the art was shown.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not, goodness. But what happened? Okay, so here's what everybody's upset with. So Dan Frega put the vote up before he showed any of the art. And you guys can watch the tape. I'm the only one that protested. Everybody else was like, ooh, everyone's going to vote for me. I'm going to benefit from it. And I said, hey, Dan Frega, that's not right. Show the art. You guys go watch the tape. I said that. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what I said. Show the art first. Why are you putting up a poll before anyone's seen the art? And secretly, I could see it in all their eyes. Dan Fraga, Aaron Lepresti, Irene, they're all like, this is gonna give me an unfair advantage. And but I was the only one that protested, and they only protested after they're like, John's got 50% of the vote, and no one's even seen his piece yet.
They weren't ready for you, were they?
Yeah, and that's just it, right? So I don't know if it was 100. I didn't see the poll. I don't know how many people ran in there and supported Jon Malin and the Malin militia. 1,000 maybe. Who knows? 150? 10? But that's just, it was 50% of the vote. And then I started hearing 50% being turned into 50 people, and then 50 people. Now apparently it's 100 people. I don't know what the numbers were. But it was 50% of the vote. But look, guys, 50%, it could have been 10 people voted, 5 of them voted for me, and the rest of them spread out. But the point is, nobody was complaining that they also got votes before people saw their pieces. You know what I mean? The only thing that irked them was that I got more. So, cheater? I don't know. I guess we're all cheaters. No. I guess we're all cheaters then, aren't we?
I mean, sore losers, cheaters.
Yeah.
Could be one or the other.
Yeah,
could be one or the other.
Look, every presidential election, people vote too. You know what I mean? They just vote early. You know what I mean? What? Yeah. Is everybody out there cheating? Everybody out there cheating because other people are doing what they're supposed to be doing by voting?
In the end, you won, and that's what matters. So take notes, everybody.
Yeah. No, I told them, and that's just it. Like the same thing happened on Drawing Corner. I said, guys, you have Twitter just like I have Twitter. Go out on your Twitter and let people know that you're over here. God damn it. You know what I mean? Like, go promote this show. Do what I did and promote this show and bring it. Which, look, guys, through my support, that was the highest viewed, I believe, Dan Fraga show of all time. And there was over 700 people watching live. Because I went out there and I rallied the troops. I said, guys, come watch this. I'm over here. And everybody knows the legend of me from the Drawn and Quarter days. And everybody wanted to see me take everyone to task. And I did. I delivered on that. And it became the highest viewed. And look, I mean, Dan Fraga's had Wesley Snipes on his channel. You know what I mean? Wesley Snipes, me.
In terms of views and attention?
Live viewers. Dan Fraga said this is the most live viewers I've ever had. He's had Chris Kirkpatrick, I think it was, from NSYNC.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, they're good pals.
Hooked up.
Yeah, they're good friends. He's been friends with those guys from way back in the day. Because Dan's got a lot of music industry connections. Yeah. I think he directed some videos. He was in a couple videos. Like he was in a Kelly Clarkson video. Gay. I know. But he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he's friends with movie stars and musicians. It's crazy.
And he knows people that know people. So Wesley Snipes was on there. But the point being, most live viewers of all time. Look, he would have had that Wesley Snipes interview would have been the most viewed if he had me on it. You know what I mean?
You should have been there bringing the troops.
Yeah. I don't see why people don't get this.
It's amazing that you were able to do that illustration in how much time?
That's what they said too. Like I don't get any credit. I wanted this competition to end 40 minutes earlier. I'm like, guys, I'm done. And they're like, more time. And they kept extending it. So I just kept doing more lines and more lines and more lines and more lines. Like my whole drawing was done. I had the whole thing inked, and I'm just like, what am I gonna do with all the time? All right, well, I'll just, I guess, nearly turn it into a full piece. So I just kept line, speed line, more lines in the hair, more shade around the eyes. I mean, look, it looked better, but it's like, I saw what they had. By the time I had mine fully drawn, and when I was like, hey, isn't this thing over? These guys had half drawings done. They weren't even it was embarrassing. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll put this in overdrive and just ultimately destroy on here. But yeah, they just wanted more time. And I was like, okay, all right, well,
Yeah.
so I don't know how long it ended up being, but I thought it was going to be like a 45-minute time
So
to draw
they
or
were
something,
cheating.
and then it ended up being like an hour and a half. I don't know what it was, because they needed more time.
That is amazing.
And then they complained, you did all that in whatever, an hour. Like, yeah. Like, why didn't you guys,
Being an artist is an emotional role. It's you put your heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
Tensions go high in a competition like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And someone in chat mentioned, I made a bargain with Irene that she has yet to fulfill.
What was the bargain?
I said, look, if you win, Irene, you get my belt for 6 months. My Fragtober championship belt, which is now in the possession of Mark Polton. But I said, you get that for 6 months. And I said, but if I win, I get your belt for 6 months. It's just, okay. Right? Because they all went in there with arrogance, and apparently not, look, you're going to show up to a gunfight, you better bring bullets.
Wait, you're telling me they actually thought they were going to win?
Yes.
Realistically.
Aaron the Presti said he thought his competition was Irene.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because he says he's unfamiliar with my work. Okay.
Unfamiliar with your work?
Yeah.
No, he had to be joking around.
Yeah. Are you unfamiliar with the sun in the sky? Like, how do you ignore this? Christ. So, So Aaron thought that he was going to put the smackdown on, and he did. Aaron actually beat Irene. So, I mean, like, 4th place was Dan. 3rd place was Irene. 2nd was Aaron. 1st place was me.
Yeah.
So that's what you get. They underestimate. Why would you? And that's just, I don't get the respect I deserve, right? So when I was on Drawn and Quarter, what for those that may not know, that was a weekly drawing competition, right? I mean, I was born in competition, and I showed up on every episode of that for 2 years almost. I have all the records at the time. I had the most medals, the most golds. I mean, I just destroyed people every single week, and you're gonna act like I'm not a threat.
People forget. They forget where you come from, John.
Yeah, I'm like a pit fighter, and you guys just stepped into the fucking cage. Like, you didn't even know that you had a monster over here. Over there thinking Irene is the threat. Not to mention, I am the first year Fragtober grand champion. I have the first belt, and still Aaron's unfamiliar with me. I don't think so, guys.
He's not unfamiliar with you anymore.
Oh yeah.
And none of them are. They know what to expect from you next time around.
Yeah,
so
Rob
they won't
says,
be so quick.
Rob says, when will these people learn? That's what I'm saying. Like, I got blood on my hands, is on my shirt, like dribbling down my mouth. Like, don't you see a killer? Don't you recognize a killer?
Enjoy the victory, my friend. Enjoy the victory. Next time, next Fragtober.
Guys, look, and that's just it, right? I mean, what bothers me is the disrespect, for them going up against this competition was the greatest moment in their life. Like, they're like, oh, I, Aaron Lepresti, or oh, I, Irene, will become champion at the end of this night, like, of Fragtober. For me, I just showed up and it was a Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
you didn't even break a sweat.
How much does it mean to me? What matters is the disrespect of my peers. Yeah. And should I even consider them my peers anymore? I mean, are they peers? Like,
what do you consider them as now, after all of this?
God, how do you say lesser beings? Like, I feel like I want to consider them how they considered me at the beginning of that competition. That's how I want to consider them. Non-threatening.
Well, I think it's safe to say that you can consider them as such. All right, we've got Sheldon Martin with a super chat here. He's $4.99. Thanks so much, man. He says, John has to keep that villainous laugh as his intro. Yeah.
Yeah, so That's just like fucking
I think he
trolled
does.
the hell out of them,
Chris.
and they deserved every second of it because I did as I was just destroying them and the votes were pouring in. I just laughed and laughed, and I had this wolf mask on. It was incredible. Epic.
Yeah, well, that's what people forget to do on the Fragtober streams as well, is to, take a few jabs, gloat a little, keep things interesting. That's what
I
people come
gloated.
for.
Like victory is always better when you're disrespected and you win. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, when you're the underdog.
Yeah, when it's just, well, I mean, it's not I didn't feel I was the underdog. Look, I knew I was a murderer, walking out a wolf among the sheep,
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't feel like the underdog. I was the alpha dog in the pack. But the disrespect of them not recognizing that, that's what really bothered me. It's like, oh, Aaron, you didn't think I was a threat at all? Interesting.
That was their big mistake.
Irene thought that the whole competition was between her and Aaron. Well, how's it feel in third place, Irene?
Right.
Fuck around, find out. That's what they say.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Now, you mentioned Mark Poulton before, who is the co-creator of Graveyardshift with you. Now, is he involved with the book that we're here to talk about?
Well, he's involved in that. He's the co-creator of Graveyardshift. No, I'm the writer. I wrote
you're the writer of that one?
Yeah, it's about 150, probably 150 plus pages by the time it gets to people. I'll say 150.
150?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we've been working on this book for a good while. I started Tommy on it a year ago, I think. But then I took him off because I needed an artist to come in and do Brahm. So Tommy came in and filled in for Brahm, which is great because Tommy started on this. I think he did maybe 40 pages or something like that by the time I had to take him off to Brahm. Oh, yeah. And I was working with Tommy a lot on some of the things that I wanted stylistically with this book. And team books are difficult because there's just so many people to draw. And when Tommy was coming off of a huge hiatus, he worked on I don't know what it was, like the Game of Thrones comic book. He didn't really dig into superhero comics, even though he's always wanted to do superhero comics. He was always doing these kind of licensed properties at these other companies. Yeah, so I think it might have been Hedge Knight or something like that. I don't know. So, but anyways, so when he got started, it was kind of like, all right, well, it's stylistically, here's kind of where I want you to start leaning towards, and we kind of worked with that for a little bit. But when he went on Brahm, which was like a solo character for 48 pages, I think he was able to catch a breather, and feel better about, more getting out, and he's able to get kind of settled into the work. And then I brought him back onto a Megastorm, back into a team book, and the art level just went through the roof. So you guys will see there'll be I think it'll be obvious, but I have the editor and the editor eye and the foreknowledge of it. So, but yeah, it just it takes a jump up.
Hell yeah. Well, I was looking at the interiors of this book. Let's scroll down a little bit here. So these are the interiors. And that is one nice looking book.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's pretty cool. So, there's the storyline is kind of think of it I guess a Justice League. They're part of the United Nations. It's a team that was put together because of what happened in Graveyardshift Volume 2, which was dubbed in this book as the Battle of New York. The UN building was destroyed. It was rebuilt, and that's where their base is at. It's at the top of the UN. So it's a multinational team that's going out there and fighting other superpowered threats now. So because the governments didn't have that before the Battle of New York. So now they needed to put together a superhero team. So they've already been in action for a while, but this is kind of getting where they are now. And the leader of the team, his wife is murdered in front of him, and he doesn't know who did it. So it's an unsolved case. I mean, they know because it's a known serial killer, but they don't know who he is. So while he's still grieving over this, he has to get back in the saddle and lead his team on suicide mission, pretty much. So,
oh wow,
150 pages.
Yeah, I can't believe it's 150 pages. Yeah. That's going to be a thick book.
It's a huge investment. So I appreciate everybody going out there and backing it. But at Comicsgate prices, we average about $25 for every 50 pages drawn. For a 50-page book, you pay about $25. So this is essentially 3 books for the price of 2. So it's $50 for this entire thing, but it's a lot. And it's not for the kids. It's not for the kids. So it's not because of sexuality, but because of the violence. So, I mean, there'll be some sexuality in there too, but the violence of what we're going to do here, and I tell people, guys, if you want safe books, there's plenty of safe books out there. Go get Irene's Fiendish 2. Go get Aaron Lepresti's Wraith of God. But
this is not that kind of book.
My books are dangerous. Dangerous. Yeah.
Sounds like a good book.
Yeah, these books are not, these aren't just light readings. This isn't just let's punch somebody in the face stuff. There's more going on here. So if you're looking for an experience, check this out. $50, but guys, this is first print. You know what I mean? And it's gonna not look. People are gonna be talking about 2 books next year, and those 2 books are gonna be Omega Storm, because I wrote it, and Tommy drew it, and Godlike. So
nice.
those 2 books, when you guys get those next year, that's all people are going to talk about. You know what you're going to remember about every other book? A punch. Hey, wasn't that cool? Wasn't that a cool punch? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is sticking around.
Yeah, this story, it's one of those things. It's not going to, like the original Graveyardshift, what people talked about the most, it was the baby being blown out of the pregnant mother.
Yeah, I mean, you established that this was that your books were a little bit more dangerous right from the get-go.
Yeah, but the ones that I'm specifically doing myself in terms of creatively, like it's not for your children. You know what I mean? Like it's for a 14-year-old Jon Malin. You know what I mean? Like if you like Spawn, darker stories like that, but still super heroics and heroic people doing the ultimate sacrifice. And that's what's interesting too, is because the main Graveyardshift books, which we have 4 volumes of now, this story fits right in between volume 4 and volume 5 of the main storyline. So when you get to the very last page of Omega Storm, it rolls right into volume 5. So it's not necessary to enjoy the main storyline of Graveyardshift. But it keeps going on into that. So yeah, it's a lot going on. But the story and what I was getting at is that there's a double page spread in there that shows a whole big team roster. If you could show that real quick, Clayton.
Okay.
But these are, and this is cool because visually I've created all these characters on the drawing, and Mark Polton's named most of them. These are updated costumes right here of Omega Storm that Tommy went, because when we get to the second half of the book, they go on to that mission and then there are new costumes. But anyways, it's cool because these are all my characters and Mark's, but they're all looking back at me. And like I didn't think that when I commissioned it, but now I'm like, oh, look at everything I've created. Like, people are talking about building universes, and Mark and I, we've built the universe. So these are 3. By the time you have Omega Storm in your hands, this is 3 established super teams that we've created. So Omega Storm. Graveyardshift is over there on the left predominantly, and on the right is Division X. So if you guys have read Graveyardshift Volume 4, you know who Division X is now. So
there you go.
And by the time we get to Graveyardshift Volume 5, 6, almost everyone in this image is dead.
Wow. So, in this image here?
Yes.
Are you wiping out your universe?
Yes.
Are you going to wish them back somehow? Raise them from the dead? I guess you can't reveal such things.
Yeah, no, there's plans, like there's and I've told people, I said by the time we get to Graveyardshift Volume 7, Graveyardshift, the book itself, will exist, but it'll be a new roster.
Sweet.
So basically, people that survive, who's it going to be? I mean, I know. Mark knows.
I mean, I like all of them. I hope they all survive. They're cool characters.
That's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to establish these characters and get people to know at least a little bit about them. And, we had one character in volume 3 that died, and we introduced and killed in volume 3. And people are like, oh man, that sucks. I like that guy. His name was Wrecker, and he had a big hammer. And it's like, and now there's like a show out called Wrecker, and I saw he's got a hammer. I was like, these motherfuckers. Anyways, bastards. So anyways, people were like kind of getting attached to him, and it's great because he was killed by Killer 99, who is one of our bad guys. And then that also solidified Killer 99 as a bad dude and like a tough bad dude, because he has psionic powers and he's just whipping around anyone that's coming after him, so they can barely touch him. But that created this whole subplot now where Brahm's team in the main Graveyardshift book, they really got a bone to pick with Killer 99. But they just can't defeat him yet. So we'll have resolution on all of this stuff in the coming books. But Omega Storm by itself will have Brahm in here. Everybody, most of these characters will have like a shot in there. So they're in there. Vlad is in there prominently. There's conversations with Vlad. Brahm leads a secondary team on this mission. Sea Urchin from Graveyardshift leads a third team. So, it's a pretty big story. New villain introduction. A lot of stuff going on in this book.
Yeah, it's 150 pages. So what is there an overall plot, or is it a series of smaller stories?
Oh yeah, there's an overall plot, and that plot kind of fits into the Graveyardshift plot that we had, the main storyline going on. So I kind of don't want to give away details, because if you haven't read 4, then this kind of, I have to start explaining what happened in 4 to get to this. To make, just so people understand where they are. Like you don't have to have 4 if you can read this as a standalone. But once I start saying this, you're gonna say, oh, why is that happening? And it's like, well, read Omega Storm, and it fills you in on the gap. So so it's difficult for me to go in there and really kind of get into what the plot is. But if you've read Graveyardshift 4, you should have a bit of a clue on where these teams are going, because Omega Storm's introduced in the very end of Graveyardshift. They have one little panel, I think, 1 or 2 shots in Graveyardshift Volume 4.
Oh, sweet. Well, look, I mean, the main thing everybody needs to know is there's kick-ass superheroes, amazing art. What else?
I think that works for most CG books, is kick-ass art, and but look, guys, it's more than that. It's there's an emotional content here. There's a subplot here. There's other things going on with these characters, and you're gonna have to hop on and take that journey with them. How are you going to handle leading the most important mission of your life on trying to bring your team back in one piece when you're dealing with the murder and decapitation of your wife?
That is one thing I loved about Graveyardshift, is there was so many relationship dynamics unfolding between the characters, which made them feel real and relatable. And that's exactly what you need to pull somebody into the story, get them invested. And it sounds like we're going to get very much a similar thing here with Omega Storm.
Yeah. Well, so Graveyardshift, for anyone that hasn't checked out Graveyardshift, is the quick thing is, what if the Universal monsters were the X-Men? So that's where the core of the idea is. It's always been about horror and homaging horror and sci-fi and things that Mark and I were really into, like 80s kids, 90s teens. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's really about homaging a lot of these things. Like our Vlad is our Dracula, Mick the Monster Mayhew is our Frankenstein's monster. Lilith is essentially the bride. Sea Urchin is like our creature from the Black Lagoon / Namor
That's a
or
cool name.
Aquaman. You know what I mean? So we play with all the horror tropes, and that's what was interesting because I don't know, like 6 months ago, something like that. Ethan's like, "Hey, John, since you guys are playing with all these tropes, because and then we have Killer 99, which is like 1980s slasher." But he also has psionics, but he's basically what if Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees also had psionics? So that's kind of how we've spun the main line of Graveyardshift. And
Cool.
Ethan was like, well, hey, if you've done that, why don't you guys do like the torture porn? And I was like, and that kind of forced my hand, so I actually showed him that night while we're on that stream. I was like, we're doing it. So
you're already onto it.
It's right here. Yeah. So that's the main killer that kills his wife. And the killer has a name. He's dubbed by the media as Georgie Porgy. So that's our serial killer that killed his wife. So that's known. No one knows who he is. No one knows what he is. So, but he's out there.
A bit of mystery as well.
Yeah.
Always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 150 pages. Now, does every page look this good?
I would say even better. These are well, let's say as good. Like these are the earlier pages, and like
these are like
I really feel like just Tommy just really started taking off. I mean, if you look at like that double page spread down below, like he really got into like just scroll down to the pencil one. And you can see, like, he just really started getting it. Like, look at all the details on the figures. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
That's top level Tommy right there. So,
yeah, nice shadow work too.
Mm-hmm. And this is later on. This is actually when they're heading for their mission. So there's 3 teams are represented here, and then the story will bounce between those 3 teams. One led by Brom, the other by Sea Urchin, the other is a Megastorm.
I mean, a scene like this is not easy to draw.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting the scale of everything correct in the perspective that you're presenting it in. I've tried to do scenes like this, and it's not easy. It's tough.
Yeah.
So he's done a mighty fine job there.
Yep, and you got to take the time to do it. For me, I this would have been like a 3-week drawing. A lot of weed and. I think Tommy said he did it in about 20 hours. I think, if you kind of add it up. So I don't know, maybe 3 days or something like that. But apparently he's gone back and he's adding more to it because Jimmy is waiting to ink this live on a stream. Oh. So he's waiting to get the final pencils from Tommy as I understand it. But yeah, it's like I was talking about this ship yesterday, actually. And like all I said to Tommy was like, basically, we need like a jump ship, like something from like Avatar or Aliens, something, just kind of bulky like that. And it was important that it had a window, like a dome to be able to look upwards. So that's an actual plot point that'll play out later in the story. So.
You're right. So is there
important details as a writer? These are important details because if you would have had a hard roof up top, then I would have had to find another way about what happens. But I was like, yeah, if I just establish this now, then I don't have to worry about that other thing.
Yeah, very true. Mm-hmm. That's called thinking ahead.
Yeah, a lot of planning on this, guys. So, I mean, I wrote it as I'm writing it. I'm like, hey, what if this? What if that? I'm going back. I'm 100 pages, and I say, let me set this up here, so I can pay it off there. So, yeah, a lot of work. 150-page script. Ain't light.
Now, do you get Tommy to, or do you do it yourself? Do you do concepts for some of these things, like the spaceship? Or like the
no, I just sent him drawings and said, Tommy, figure it out.
Yeah,
All I
get him
need
to
is
figure it out.
I need a glass roof. That's what's
Cool.
important here. So yeah, ships and stuff like that. You
He
know,
works his
now.
magic.
Yeah. So that's what I do with a lot of guys. I'm just like, hey, I need something like this, you know, and I'll find a picture of something, do something like this, you know, inspired by this is what I'm looking for. So,
And then you get this back.
yeah, and then I get that back. Yeah, somebody was it Shane, I think, when I was talking to him last, brought up like the old Superman like ship. It was like in the 1980s. I had like two little fists on the side. And we're like, yeah, we should have put two little fists on the side of this thing. That would have been awesome. No one else is doing that.
That would have been cool.
That would have been 100. Like today, that would have been like 100% like meta comic book. Like everybody, why does that thing have fists? You've been like, why not?
That would be pretty epic.
But yeah, very
Cool.
Kirby, big, bulky, a lot of weight in this image. You know, I mean, even just the shadow underneath the ship, you know, just gives a heaviness to it. So,
absolutely,
yeah. And he's gonna have to draw this thing, you know, at least 10 more times.
10 more times. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Like I said, just the fact that you've got all these different characters. I mean, how many characters are there? So many. And then underneath this giant ship,
probably around 20. If I was to take a stab at a number, there's probably about 20 characters that go on this mission. Not all of them come back.
Not all of them come back. Yeah, I'm getting the impression that a lot of the characters you create die along the way.
Yeah,
Jon creates characters just to kill them off sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, we also have other characters too that are just like non-existent characters. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we need 10 people to die here.
Yeah, like NPCs.
Tommy, make 10 characters just to die real quick. Thanks.
Now you've got this epic cover as well that I don't know how I only saw this the other day or when you released it, but I saw it the other day and I'm like,
yeah, about a week ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Get a little bit of a taste of Jon Malin's art again, which feels like it's been a while. Because you don't release a lot of your artwork.
That's true.
Makes it feel real prestige, but
that's how I want people to think about it. You know, look, guys, everyone else is just do what you want. You know what I mean? Everyone else throwing art around left and right. You know, I like to keep it for my backers. I like to minimize what goes out there to the public. That's just the way I like to do things. So that way, when you open the book, everything is new. You know, like you're going to open it up and you can say, yeah, I saw the cover, but whoa, look at all this interior stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what's cool, man.
So this is an interesting question that comes to mind for you then, because when it comes to creating these comic books, one of the biggest selling points that you can use for the marketing aspect of it all is the visuals, but you sort of keep those close to your chest. You keep it to yourself. So what do you depend on to market these books?
Cool art, great ideas, like, you know, just like everybody else. Reputation, hopefully, you know, that people know that, you know, this is my 4th, 5th campaign. I don't know what it is, but you know, they've all been fulfilled. So godlike and this are the next one out the chute.
You do get on a lot of streams, so people certainly know who you are. And,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. You know, building you. I tell everybody the first step to crowdfunding is your YouTube channel. If you're not on YouTube, don't expect sales. Sorry, that's it. You got to build your channel. You have to start networking. You need to be promoting other people. Those other people need to be promoting you. It should not be a one-way transaction where you get to sit down and draw all day long and then pop up on somebody else's stream to promote where you are not promoting somebody along the way as well. Like that's how network works. It's not a one-way transaction where only you get a benefit. So, you know, and there are people that do that. They think that all they have to do is show up. And for some people it works out, you know, because they have generous friends for the moment.
Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, you got to get out there, and then you got to bring people on your show as well. So there has to be a two-way transaction. That's how it works out for everybody. And then hopefully your projects are all being exposed, and then the better project makes the more money. So
That's exactly it. And it helps to increase your reach when the more people that you promote, the more people you've got to have your back when you go to launch your story. And I mean, if you haven't really reached out to anybody before that point, you might get a few shows to jump onto, but you'll be less familiar with people, or they'll be less familiar with you. And so it's about relationship building at the end of the day.
Look, and a lot of people do this too. They don't put any effort in, and then they're like, oh no, why don't I have any sales? And it's like, well, because you never did step one, which was build your channel, build your network up. So then what they do is they do a mad dash to try to do that. Like all of a sudden they're becoming a streamer. Oh, I guess I was serious. I thought I could just do it because I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Turns out I'm just like everybody else and I have to work hard. So then what they do is they throw together a YouTube channel. They really try to get out there and start pushing on other people's channels, or sometimes their own. If they're smart, it'll be much more of their own, so they can pull in as much of an audience as possible during that time. And then by the end of their campaign, they may still fail. But then what they do is they relaunch it a few months later, whatever, now that they've understood where their failings were at. And now they've established a small network and a small group of fans. So now they can relaunch again with the backers they collected from the first campaign. And then they can have a successful launch for the next one, and then likely, in all likelihood, hit their goal because they've done the marketing, which they should have done a year in advance before they ever launched a campaign.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, that's for sure, but it is an important aspect of the whole process. I mean, unfortunately, you can't have one without the other. That marketing is just it's going to make or break your campaign. And we've seen it a lot. People go to launch a campaign and it just doesn't move anywhere because nobody knows about it, no matter how amazing it might be. So really, if your book is that amazing, do people a favor and tell them about it and get it out there in front of them.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact figures, but I remember Brand was launched originally without any network, any support, any advertising. They thought you could just put it on. I think in that case, it was on Kickstarter initially. Put it on Kickstarter, and fans are just going to recognize you for the great being that you are with the superior project, and everyone's just going to buy, and it's going to be your Cinderella story. And that was the wrong way. I think the number was something like it made like $100.
Oh,
so then they came over, or Antonio Bryce came over to Comicsgate and did it again. And through the power of this network, God, I don't remember what did he make 6 figures? I think he might have made close to 6 figures. I'm not sure.
That's incredible.
I don't remember. I just remember Antonio was around when we were all started saying 6 figures, bitch. Maybe he coined it. He might have coined that. And then it became 6 figures, young lady.
Right.
I think it was somebody can give me a number out there. Phil or Rob out there. Those guys probably remember what it was. Maybe it was 40 grand. But anyways, it was a lot more than whatever the initial amount of money he made with no network supporting it. So that's the power of building the network, guys. Look, you may not get a 6-figure project. You might only make $10,000, but shit, $10,000 is still better than
for a comic.
What most people are doing out there. But in order to start making some money, you probably want to be looking at about a $20,000 project, in terms of your profit, depending on what your expenses are and how you're going to go about that, what you're going to pay your artists and things along those lines. So
for sure.
But funding stuff like this requires a lot of money. So, I've been paying for this out of pocket. So from my other campaigns and just pushing it here and being like, okay, more money into this and to other things. So Godlike, all that stuff. So, Godlike's actually raised money. So, that's fine. So, but yeah, I've been paying out of pocket to get this one going. So this is a lot more about recovery costs. So
yeah, that's tough. Well,
it's not tough. It's just risk. You know what I mean? So
it's
risky to do that much, and it's risky to do 40 pages, 20. It's risky to do 20 pages out of pocket, because you just don't really know. Yeah, this is 150 pages out of pocket. So, but yeah, I think it's paid off at this point. So, but my plans, and I tell people this all the time, is my plans is really once Graveyardshift hits like that volume 6, and we get that first big arc told, where I think a lot of the profits come from is going to be on that back end. In terms of collected edition of, like, say, volume 1 through 6, which we would be doing probably the following year. Whenever we hit volume 6, probably the next year would be a collected edition campaign. Whereas every page in that collected edition is already paid for.
Yeah,
done. So now when we get that out there, it's nearly all profit outside of course, taxes and shipping and all those whatever printing expenses and things like that. But then even the next year or two beyond that is what I want to be is like an ultimate edition hardcover collected, and that thing's going to be like an omnibus size. So I mean, that thing's going to be like a phone book of comic book.
That's awesome.
When we get to that, like, I've always like this Omega Storm is technically it's a supplemental volume 4. So each supplemental story volume, these things are all kind of standalone. They happen in the universe of Graveyardshift. They're not necessarily important to the main storyline plot. But what I'm going to be doing on like that Ultimate Edition is, like, I'll take select stories from our supplementals, and those are going to be interwoven into the main storyline. So
yeah,
when you 4 or 5 years from now, when we do the Ultimate Collected hardcover edition, you'll have Omega Storm, and it'll be put right in between volume 4 and volume 5 of the main storyline. So, which is going to be crazy, because you have to think about it. You're going to read volume 4, which is a total of, I don't know, 60, 68 pages, I think. And then you're going to enter this story with Tommy's art, and it's going to go on for 150 pages of all Tommy.
That's amazing.
It's fucking awesome. And then you get to volume 5. So you're going to have 150 pages right in between volume 4 and volume 5 in this big Ultimate Collected Edition.
Right.
So, and, we'll probably have another supplemental down the line. And, like Narwhal did a story a year or two ago, which was like Lilith as a little girl. It was like a little kind of like, here's some of her history. Like that.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
That's like a 20-page story, I think. That thing would go like somewhere in between volume 1, volume 2, or volume 2, volume 3. Just, hey, here's a little bit about Lilith, just so you know, before all this other stuff happens to her.
So 150 pages. Why is Omega Storm so massive? How did that happen?
Because I have massive plans as a storyteller.
Great ambition.
Like, look, I could do this, I guess, in 3 years. You know what I mean? Do a 50-page campaign, 50-page campaign, 50-page campaign. But then it'll take me 3 years to get to where I want to be this spring. You see what I'm saying? In 6 months. Like, I'd rather have this out there in 6 months, so I can just get all this stuff out there nice and properly, get back into the main Graveyardshift storyline for volume 5 and volume 6, and keep all this stuff out so we're all alive to see the conclusion. So so I mean, it's like I said, it's more risk, but I have a roadmap that I want to get to, and that's to get volume 6 wrapped up. So everybody can see exactly what we've been kind of setting up since volume 1, in terms of this big battle that's going to happen that kills nearly everybody off. So
yeah, wow. Absolutely. Yes. So it's so good to see your artwork.
Thanks.
It's always a pleasure.
Colors by Anthony
nothing
George
else like
there,
it.
by the way. Yeah.
Great poses, strong, dynamic. Got the whole crew of characters here. I'm really looking forward to Godlike.
Yeah. Wait, you mean Omega Storm? Yeah. So,
well, I'm looking forward to Omega Storm, but also godlike because you're doing the
Oh
whole
yeah, the
thing,
interiors,
right?
yeah,
Like all the interiors.
yeah. I'm not doing the supplemental. Those are being handled
Hmm.
by other better artists,
Yeah, but still.
Professor Murph
Oh.
from his project War Party. So
Mhm.
he did this kind of Western story, War Party, and then Godlike Supplemental. Mark wanted to do a Western story, so I developed a plot that would fit around the Godlike universe. So, and that's the hardest thing about Godlike. So, like Graveyardshift, we're 4 years in on this now. People kind of get the concept and get the ideas, and kind of what the world is like, and how they can put their own thoughts into there. Like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this happened in Graveyardshift? Like, we're at that point with Graveyardshift. So, bringing in a writer that doesn't have any clue, like, they should have a clue if they're reading the series at this point.
Oh yeah.
Whereas Godlike, it's a lot more like, I have a plan, but I also don't want to show all my cards. So
Gotcha.
Godlike is meant to be far superior to any comic book that exists on this planet.
Really?
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's supposed to be that good. The Godlike is supposed to be the project that I die on. So
Right.
when I'm gone and people say, he did Godlike. Oh, really? Yeah. So yeah, so that's how important that is to me in terms of as a artist and storyteller on Godlike. And so I have certain things that nobody else knows about the project. Nobody. So if I died tomorrow, it goes with me. So outside of Faye, my wife, she might be able to scramble together some of my notebooks and figure out an idea of where I was going, but
right. Oh no. Right.
it's not. It doesn't happen if I don't finish Godlike. So Godlike is planned to be about 4 volumes, but it may go into 6. We'll see. So I mean, because I'm in Godlike, I'm working in double page spread format for paneled pages. So you'll see just these kind of sweeping widescreen shots and whatnot. So it'll be it's much larger storytelling, but because of that, larger page counts get required. So to tell those stories. So
for sure.
So it might be 6 volumes at the end. Right now, my plan is for 4, but the universe could go on indefinitely. But this is such a huge undertaking for me. I would love to knock it out in 4, but it might take more.
Yeah. Cool. Have you had a chance to work on it while all these other projects are coming out? That's good.
Yeah, I have to make time. Like, like I do these streams, and normally what I've been doing is drawing in the morning time now. So good. Like that, like I think we said it off screen. I just woke up, 40 minutes whatever before we went live.
I know, and it's 9 p.m. there, right?
Yeah. So it's 10 p.m. right now. So
10 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been working during the daytime, drawing, getting stuff done. And so because I'm streaming mostly at night right now, and that's kind of it's almost like a good time to do it. I hate drawing in daytime. I like it when the world's asleep, like that's like the prime time, but usually I'm streaming. So that's like when this is over, my goal is to draw, but if a stream comes up and I want to pop on it, then it's like, okay, well, I got to make money too. But then in the morning time, I'll be drawing.
Right.
But Faye, my wife, she's off at work. So that's good, except that, and my sleep pattern changes. So I go around the clock, so every day it's like a little bit later. And eventually, and then I'm up all day long, or I'm up all night long. But so right now it sucks because Faye, when she gets home, I'm out like a light right now. So
gotcha.
Not my preferred schedule, So
yeah. I'm sure the two of you have had some conversations about that. I never get to see you anymore, John. You're always
she knows
marketing
how it is.
And drawing comic books.
She knows how it is. Yeah. So it's been like my sleep pattern has always been a wreck. So like even when I work construction, like that keeps me on a day schedule. When I did that before I went to Marvel, but when I would get into layoff, it would happen. It's like a broken circadian clock or something like that. So,
hey man, as long as you're comfortable living that way, that's the important thing. If that's
it's just the only way I can live.
your natural way of being.
Like, my body clock. That's just what it does when there's not a structured like you got to be up at 4 a.m. and you got to be in bed by 8 p.m. You know, so
Yep. Man, it's strange.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know if this is just because of my natural like circadian rhythm as well, but I swear going to bed at like 3 or 4 for me in the morning and waking up around 9 or 10 seems to have me in an energized state. Now that could be because of shooting cortisol levels that are just like pumping adrenaline through my veins because I've had such minimal sleep, but
Yeah.
I swear sometimes when I get a good night's sleep, I wake up even tireder.
Yeah, I
So,
heard this one thing, you know, because I looked into it a bit at one time, you know, and it's like there's actually like this kind of natural, I don't know, like farmer's clock, I guess, like,
yeah.
and I tried it for a bit, and what it
Yeah.
was like that you would always get like you'd always be up twice in a day. So you would
Right.
work the field and then you go to sleep. But then you'd wake up at like, I don't know, like 1 or something like that. And that's basically checking the livestock.
1 in the morning.
Yeah. And then, you know, you got to make sure there's no predators out there, whatever. And then
Yeah.
you're going back to bed. And like, that was supposed to be like, that was supposed to be like the right sleep, you know? I was
Right.
like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. No, don't do that.
Did you try it? It didn't
Oh
work
yeah, I
out.
tried it. Yeah, it's fucking exhausting, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it ends up being, you know, which does happen to me as well. Sometimes I'll get
Mm.
into a pattern where I'm doing 5 hours of sleep and then
Mm.
2 or 3 hours of sleep. You know, like it'll
Oh,
get
brutal.
real jacked up like that
That's
sometimes.
hardcore.
So and sometimes that happens because, you know, like if I get on a schedule like I am right now, or like fulfillment. Fulfillment is when it's like
Yeah.
it's at its worst because I'm still trying to stream at night, but then I'm trying to get up in the morning and get fulfillment done. And it's like, okay, well,
Right.
I got 4, you know, I got only so many hours of energy in me, and then I'm off for like power nap, you know.
Yep. Time management in
Yeah.
this line of business
It
is
sucks to talk about sleep on streams, especially at 10 o'clock at night, because then everyone's like, you know, sleep does sound good. So anyways, yeah, that's just how it is, guys. Sorry. Omega Storm, incredible. Everyone go check that out.
Yeah. Yep. Wake up, guys. Go check out a Megastorm and back this awesome book. You know, make it so that John's not out of pocket on this one. He shouldn't be. It's 150
Guys,
page
no,
book.
don't worry about that. The more importantly is you know, that we make money to, you know, keep going on and doing great comics. So yeah, don't worry about me. I'm not gonna be poor, homeless. This has already made its money. But I am saying this is a incredible story, and I want you guys to get in on it. So, and also there's the my variant cover, and my variant cover, the one that we were just looking at a minute ago, that's only available for this campaign. So
Awesome.
everyone get it. I'll hold on to like 200 copies for myself. Maybe I'll eke them out down the line, but they'll be much more expensive. So these are going all going to be signed by me as well. So get this copy now. Yeah, I mean, we had like, I think the rarest comic we did was the Andrew Huerta variant from a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember
and
that.
I think the last of them were actually on this campaign, but it was like a virgin cover, and that was only a print run of like 500. So I mean, it's very, very small. So this one could be in that same boat by the time we're all done. We only have about 22 days left on the campaign, I think. So this thing could be, you know, limited to 500 copies. So
right.
And you'll get it signed by me, so you don't have to worry about a signature. You can go ahead and send that off to, what is that CGC slabbing thing right away.
Oh, what's that? CG,
like what is it? That grading, yeah, CGC universal grade. So they slab these books in these plastic things, and they put a grade on it.
Yeah,
for resale down the line. Yeah, this is
there you go.
This is an unsigned copy of the first appearance of Deadpool.
Sweet.
My friend Cecil got this for me, and I was like, "It's not even signed, Cecil." And then I was like, "It's only a 9.4, Cecil." So, but
what a top guy.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys can go send those off, and you know, maybe there'll be a 9 something in there. Who knows, 9 point something. But you'll have a signature on it, so you can get that bad boy signed. And if it's limited to 500 copies by the end of the campaign, then hail to you guys. You're gonna have a very rare comic.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll wrap this up now, but let me ask you before we do, what do you think sets Graveyardshift a Megastorm apart from every other comic book out there? Mainstream and creator owned.
Well,
Why
that's
is this
a
the one
big
people
thing.
need
Why
on
why is it
on their
more
shelf?
important than every look? It's the second most important book next to the Bible. That's how I feel about Graveyardshift. Anything that I'm working on, that I'm writing, drawing, these are the pinnacle. And if you guys want to wallow in the depths, that's fine. There's plenty of trash out there for you guys to check out. This is not trash. This is pure great superhero comic books. Finished to a high degree. It's not going to talk down to you. It's something you're going to be able to get on board with. But look, I'm telling you, I'm warning you. I'm not telling you, I'm warning you. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And this might not, you might not feel comfortable by the time you end this book, because this is going to put you on a journey. You're going to have to look back on your own life and your own decisions and where you are. And, guys, you're better off just, I don't know, go get a punch book. Get a book with a lot of punching in it. You probably shouldn't get this book.
Yeah.
That's my pitch. Look, it's only meant for the elite. It's only meant for you have to have a maturity level. You have to have an open mind to decapitation of women. You have to see the blackest,
it's a heavy violence,
the blackest depths before you can start seeing the light. You got to go down, all the way down, so that my hand can reach down and pull you up. Is how I feel about these projects. So I wrote this 150 pages of incredibleness. Go check it out, guys. And look, don't get me wrong, you can see in the preview pages there's punching, but it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's going to throw you around a bit. That's good. And it's not available forever. There's a limited amount of time left that
and the campaign
on board and grab this.
Good point. We don't go into man. I've never gone into man. I don't go into man. So when our 22 days here is up, that's it. It's over. There's no extension. There's no extra 30 days that could be added on. This is it. You have 22 days to back the most incredible book you're ever going to read in your life.
So don't sit on this, guys. Grab the book. It's 150 pages of beautiful artwork, of Jon Malin's writing. What more could you want?
Well, and Tommy Patterson's pencils, Jimmy Reyes' inks.
Exactly. Well, Jimmy Reyes, Tommy Patterson, the colorist. Who's the colorist?
Various. So we have colors by. Ultimately, Various, I think it's going to be colors by Snakebite Cortez. He's the colorist from the Red Star, which was a classic book, highly influential to me. So he's colored the first half, and then Anthony George is coloring the second half. So I think at the end of the day, that'll be the two main colorists that are on there. So
very nice. And letters by Eric Weathers. So we all know Eric is the most professional letterer out there. All right. Well, I think that just about wraps it up, but let's play the trailer before we head on out of here.
Actually, here, I can present a video file for that. So if you want to just share
that
right there. Audio comes a little bit cleaner.
Let's do it.
incredible. Wow.
Oh yeah. I mean,
It's
that
an
yellow
honor.
lady.
It's an honor to be working with such talented people as myself. And Tommy and Jimmy
and everybody else.
and everybody
Absolutely.
else. No, great artists, great teams on here, guys, on all these projects. Thank you for backing these projects. It is appreciated in all sincerity. And it's, you guys going out there and supporting that allows me to make these projects and to also put these other artists and creators to work. So,
sure.
Support independent comics, support the independents. So, thank you.
Big time. Do it. We want to see more great books like this. Jon, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to catch up with you. It's been
Pleasure.
too long. Too long.
Yeah,
it's been good.
And looking forward to all your guys' projects as well. So, hail, everyone get out there and support the Barton brothers. These guys are fucking tearing it up. Kozor, Borak, Androminoids.
Oh, you said it correctly.
Of course I
did.
You
do remember it.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for an hour.
Androminoids is the best name ever, right? It is better than a Megastorm.
Oh, Corey, what are you trying to start here, dude? Well, speaking of Kozor, by the way, 680 backers have jumped on board, which is absolutely amazing. We have got some huge news that I don't think we've officially announced yet, at least here on the channel, which is that Kozor is being fulfilled as we speak. We had a few people in the chat, such as Badger, who has already gotten their copy.
Nice.
And Mark Polton, who you would be well acquainted with, Jon Malin.
Yeah, why has Mark got a copy and I don't? What the hell?
I don't know. I think yours is still coming. But
it'll comes before P in the alphabet, right? In Australia.
It should be on the way. It's maybe it's because it's such a big package. It's
probably the biggest. I backed it at the highest tier, guys. Incredible. Yeah. I've been looking forward to this project for a while now.
Yeah, it's really amazing that people are finally getting it in their hands, and we hope that they love it. At the end of the day, this is the moment of truth. This is when we find out what all the work we put into it is worth in the end. So
and that's really the great thing too. Like Comicsgate, because we're such close. Everybody should know. I mean, I'm aware. I'm acutely aware that when my work goes out there, it is going to be scrutinized by some of the brightest minds in comics. So me and everybody else. So that's the thing. That's how high I feel like the bar on comics, is here in Comicsgate, because we're so close and we're so talkative. And people ask in the chat, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And it, eventually comes out, and you're going to tell people exactly what you thought about a project. So, it's like trial by fire. Every time one of these books has gone out into the public, it's hopefully people enjoy what they're getting out there. So,
big time. Well, it was with that in mind that we laid down every line onto each page and made it the best we possibly could. But because it is being fulfilled, we're going to be closing it up very soon, very likely this month. In fact, definitely this month, because, otherwise we'll have to order in another print run, and we really don't want to have to do that. So, jump on board now. Don't miss your chance. We've had it open for a while, so now
Chief Baron, everybody, Chief Baron. The guy wears the face of his vanquished enemy. Look at this.
He certainly does.
Yeah.
He's a savage.
That hardcore in Omega Storm, like a guy wearing,
Wait until you see the last couple of pages of Omega Storm. Tommy doesn't even know what the last couple of pages are. Jimmy doesn't even know what the last couple of pages. I keep things close to my vest, guys. Because I didn't know if they would quit.
Oh, true.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, don't get Omega Storm, guys. It's offensive. It's
I'll give you nightmares.
Some things should not be done to the dead. That's how I feel.
Brutal. Oh. Well, we'll see then. You got my interest now. Yeah, guys, this is some of the latest artwork from Kozor Descent into Madness. This is what's in the book. Corey, what's your favorite part of Kozor? What's your favorite scene?
Some pretty good pages in it. There's like that one page, I think, that'll really surprise people, and they'll be like, "Damn, like it's the best page we ever seen."
Anyway. It's confronting. It's if you like medieval horror, like Berserk, that's probably the best comparison that we could sit Kozor next to.
And babes and monsters.
Lots of kick-ass artwork, lots of detail and time and effort put into it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, definitely pick it up. Oh, you also get a whole bunch of extra stuff with it that we just decided to add in there. We decided to send ourselves broke and print off way more prints than we needed to, more trading cards than we needed to, and really over-deliver so that it felt like a really special occasion when Kozor rocks up to your doorstep. So, I mean, we got to show you how these books rocked up to the US at some point too, because I don't know what happens in the mailing system, but if I hadn't have packed these books so well, we would have been ordering a whole bunch more because I just don't know. It's like one of the boxes looked like some kind of giant dog had gotten a hold of it and started tearing it apart.
Yeah. Yep. So. Yeah, usually returns and damages are a very small percentage of campaigns. So, that's a good thing.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. So, sweet. Well, with that said, again, everybody, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you, the chat, for being here. So many of you tuned in, which means no doubt a lot of you shared this stream around and really got the word out. Please make sure that not only do you get the word out about this stream, but also a mega storm, because there's 22 days left on that campaign. Lots and lots of pages that are being put into it. Beautiful artwork. Jon Malin's writing it, overseeing the whole project. He's delivered many books before. He's going to continue delivering books.
Stay away. Stay away from this book.
Yeah. Jump onto it. And Corey, thank you, my wonderful co-host.
Oh, that's all good,
Appreciate you being here too. I need to show
Corey's
my
here.
appreciation
Hey,
to you.
Hey, we got like a fan who wants to see the trailer, bro. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, play
the trailer for Kozor.
Yeah, play that trailer.
Yeah, all right. We'll play the trailer then before we go, and then we'll end the stream. All right. Share the audio here. There we go. Let's fire this thing up.
Kozor Descent into Madness features 43 full-color pages of intricately detailed art that tells a nightmare-fueled story of foul demons, abundant bloodshed, and the insidious corruption of a warrior's psyche. The story centers around a mighty warrior named Chief Baron and his clan of savage swordsmen who embark on a quest into the sacred swamplands of Nimla in search for the mysterious Faceless People, a race of submissive super soldiers who will balance out the odds in a ruthless war between man and demon. But when they're attacked by a flock of flying beasts, their journey proves more fatal than they could have ever imagined. In this campaign, backers get no less than the definitive edition of Kozor Descent into Madness, which comes complete with refined edits, additional story pages, retouched interior artwork, and new wraparound covers. If you're a fan of dark fantasy and medieval horror, this book is for you. Back Kozor Descent into Madness today, only on Indiegogo.
All right. That's it, everyone. Until next time, Keep
Cool.
backing those books. Keep practicing your drawing. And we'll catch you in the next stream. There will be more to come real soon. We're starting them back up. All right. Bye-bye.